Welcome back, everyone. For today's question, day 25. What does the average day as a professional artist look like? Year? Ha ha ha. Alright, I only laugh because I don't have an average day. It's kind of weird. I feel like I am all over the place, to be quite honest with you. I have the ideal average day. Whether or not I accomplish an ideal day is up for debates, but I can go over what I try to do. So I have a mixed bag as far as what I do as a professional artist, because I don't just work for my studio. I leave the studio a lot throughout the year to do conventions. And so even though a lot of my time is spent in the studio creating art and everything like that, I also do a lot of traveling and selling at conventions. So I can kind of do a little bit of both. So studio work, average day, generally, I, breakfast, coffee, the usual morning kind of stuff, and I'll watch an episode of something on YouTube, like while I'm having coffee, and just kind of do a little bit of social media stuff. Right after that, I look at my extensive list of things to do. I have a planner, so I try to use my planner as much as possible. And I have the must-do items, and then I also add other items in case I manage to work through everything else that I can get done during the day if I have the time. So usually it involves a little bit of social media, and it's not just me playing around online. It could be me uploading a new piece of artwork, uploading a work in progress. I could be updating my Patreon, updating YouTube. YouTube is also a social media, I believe, technically. I don't know what to call it, but I do. I'll lump that in there along with online stuff. So I'm updating that. I'm updating my Facebook art page, Instagram, Twitter, any of those. I kind of do it once over. If anyone messaged me, I check emails, stuff like that. So that all generally gets taken care of in the morning, even though I may end up reversing that later for next year and have only art in the morning and then all of that kind of stuff in the afternoon. But we'll see how that works out. But as of right now, I do that in the morning. I have lunch, and then in the afternoon is usually when I will do my art. So if I'm lucky, I have lunch by 12:30 or 1, and I do art for around 3 hours, sometimes 4 hours, if I'm able to, until my husband comes home. I try really hard to stop working as soon as he comes home, because I've suffered burnout a few times where I would pretty much work all day long, and it really started to beating me down after a while. So I had to make a change, and that change meant that I would only be working for as long as my husband was at work. So on days that he's working extra long, I do end up working extra long. I literally just work until he gets home and then I stop. And in the studio also includes things like researching new products, ordering prints, especially if I'm preparing for a convention. It would involve signing prints, bagging prints, all of that fun stuff, running the website. So there's a lot of business type stuff that has nothing to do with artwork that I do every day. And it really kind of sucks that it feels like I do less art than I do business stuff and everything else involved. But hopefully I can strike a better balance with that in 2019. In a year, since I'm independent, I don't have to worry about large projects, deadlines, stuff like that. If I do have a deadline, I'm setting my own deadline. And unfortunately, since I'm the only one that really depends on a deadline, if I miss it, I'm not going to have anybody coming after me, so it is a little bit more difficult for me to hit those deadlines and to really focus on a project to make sure that I see it through. I still sure try, but it's a very tricky thing that I'm still learning how to do. But yearly, for me, at least the past 3 years, I've done between 10 and 12 conventions every year. So usually there's a cluster in the spring and there's a cluster in the fall. Sometimes July, August, I might have one or two between those months. And I do not do any conventions or shows in November, December, January, February. So basically the winter months. I just don't like traveling since I drive to shows. I don't want to go over any snowy passes. I don't want to hit ice. I just don't like it, so I avoid it. And I don't want to deal with holiday travel and all of that. So winter is pretty much my time to focus on just making art. And so I like that. So wintertime, focus on making art, and the rest of the year is my conventions and my shows and all of that kind of stuff. Alright, so that wraps it up. Thanks so much for watching, everyone, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. We'll see you next time. Bye.